Okay, so with all of the black plastics and clear plastics and screens and stuff now that exist in motherboards and hell, graphics cards even these days, we're gonna kind of see if we can polish out some of this. It sucks now that the moment you start to wipe and clean any of your stuff, it starts to get all scratched. But I think that we can get rid of some of these scratches and provide some level of protection at the same time. This is my automotive crossover for the month. Oh wait, I already did several automotive videos this month. Whatever, it still applies. Today's video is brought to you by our brand new GPU Apocalypse 2.0 shirt, kind of immortalizing all of the stuff you love about today's GPUs. Our GPU Apocalypse 1.0 shirt was actually one of our most famous and popular shirts, and now it's re-immortalized with GPU 2.0. But let's face it, the Apocalypse never went anywhere, it just evolved. Just like this shirt. Go buy it now. I didn't forget the password of the car channel, stop with that shit. Anyway, I've got two motherboards here that are actually heavily used that have scratches on them because of just standard cleaning. And I have the Aorus 5090, which I've never used in a system yet that is scratched. It actually is all scratched right here from when I was trying to get the plastic off, because remember, stuff comes with plastic adhesive on it to like protect it, right? And then you do the peel and it's like, oh, it's all ASMR and stuff. But then it triggers me because I look at the plastic afterward and it's scratched. So what happened here is this one left a little adhesive behind, and with me trying to like Goo Gone to get the adhesive off, actually, I'm the one that put these scratches in here on day one because of that. Now this one's actually kind of sad because there's a little screen back here on the Aorus 5090 Extreme. So, or Master I should say, not the Extreme. This is the one that matters to me most, but before we do that, we are going to start with I guess we'll start with the Asus board. I don't even have a cover for the socket. I have extra socket covers and I don't know where they went. So whatever, hopefully we don't get a microfiber to touch that, because the second microfiber hits that, remember microfibers are made up of a ton of little hooks, and that will just hook onto the pins and bend them all up. But I don't use this board anymore, so it kind of doesn't matter. It's a Maximus 12. Yeah, see, it's an old, it's not even an 11th gen board. It's a 10th gen because it's a square. But still, we don't want to ruin it. Okay, so we're just gonna go ahead and start by taking it off of the motherboard. But when I go to do this part right here, I'm not gonna be able to do that so easily. Now we're just gonna be using some easily accessible polishes and rags. Now what I'm afraid is gonna happen here is polish is gonna get like up in there, but that's okay, because what we're gonna use here, we have a cotton terry cloth, and then we have a Pro Light Buffing Detail Towel, and then we have the Chemical Guys Butter Wet Wax, or as Phil likes to call it, butt wax.
It's butt wet.
Butt wax. For the deep wet shine on your butt. And then I have some 3M, which is almost gone, just painter's tape. I don't want to use microfiber, and there's a reason for that. Those hooks that I described, there's a reason why Velcro just goes and sticks to this so bad. Those hooks actually create scratches too. So the microfiber is actually what put some of the scratches in these boards. So it's better to clean your system if you're gonna use just with these buffing towels, because these are just fibers that stick up. They're not gonna be quite as abrasive. The cotton terry towel, I don't know if we're gonna use that. I think we're just gonna go straight to the buffing towel, honestly, because it's soft and we want it to be as soft as possible. Make sure you get the little plastic deals out of there. Get all the fibers off. They're guaranteed to come off when they're new. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm not gonna use any sort of power buffer or anything like that. I just want to do this by hand and get just a tiny little drop on there. And we're gonna start very, very lightly. Now what this is gonna do, this will work in your car, like your dashboard, or anything that has like a bunch of piano black, as we call it, or gloss black, because that is just guaranteed to show so many scratches. Now already, after not even buffing that out entirely, you can see there's a couple of dents in there. So there's a couple of little dents in there, but you can see those really fine scratches are already like coming out. So what's gonna be happening here is the polish is just gonna be filling in those scratches. We're gonna do this, ooh, that's a little more than I wanted, but that's okay. We're gonna do this a couple times. I'm gonna try and keep it all to the same part of the rag that I've been using, right there. And I'm not adding any like major pressure. I'm just letting like the weight of the rag and gravity kind of push down, and we're doing circular motions. You don't wanna do straight motions, otherwise that's gonna probably put more scratches back in there. So we want to do circular because we want to fill in those scratches, and we want to go in opposite directions. So back and forth, let that kind of dry a little bit. So as you let it dry, it starts to kind of harden up a little bit. And I'm going to use my second rag here, which I'm going to actually keep track of by pulling the label off of my application rag, and then my removable rag is going to have the tag on it still. So now I'm just going to lightly, with a nice part of the rag, any part of the rag, just start to do the same circular motion, back and forth. And the nice thing is, because this is so fibrous, like it sticks down, so like I would say that the fibers themselves are probably about 5 millimeters long. They'll get down into the logo like this if any of that gets down in there. So I don't have to worry about it getting built up and showing there. And after, I don't know, a minute of work, that's what we got. All right, so the really light surface scratches are gone. We still have the deep ones kind of going horizontal, which is probably like when I took a microfiber and just like, I'm gonna clean this off, and all I did was add scratches. So now I'm gonna actually give a little more force because I'm trying to work the wax into that scratch and build it up. And this is a non-abrasive wax. It's not a compound or anything like that. So it's not like we're removing any sort of material. We're trying to fill in, which is what polishes do. Polishes fill in, compounds remove. So if you're wondering the difference between a wax and a compound. So compounds have an abrasive factor to them. They're basically intended to even surface heights, if you will. So it'll cut down the heights of like the peaks in the paints, or in this instance, the plastic, and bring down the layer to be flat. But because we don't want to cut off so much material that we're now cutting into where the low levels are, you cut it down as much as possible. That's what a compound is. And then the polishes or waxes fill in the lows, and then you buff them up, and then you'll never notice the difference. So I'm just trying to use a little more pressure this time to get it to cut down the highs around that scratch. Well, actually this isn't going to do that, but we're trying to fill in that scratch. And I think we can get pretty close, but I don't think we'll be able to get it out entirely because you can only do so much magic. Again, I don't recommend using a Dremel or anything like that, especially if it's a plastic piece, because it will just melt. So you'll quickly melt the piece, and we don't want to do that. So the only thing left in there is the nick or the nicks, but that's because those are actual like gouges. Can't do anything about that. But it's better without those micro scratches. Now what we have left here is the screen part. I don't remember if there's actually a screen in this one. There could be, I don't think so actually. I don't think the Maximus Dark did. The reflective part right here, like the mirror finish part, it's really bad. The black is obviously really bad, but this is even worse. So what I'm gonna do on this one is I don't wanna get it on the metal here. I don't wanna start to polish up that metal. So I'm just gonna put a piece of tape right along the edge right there to allow me to at least be able to stop the polish from getting where I don't want it. That's all I'm gonna do for that right there. So here we go, same rag. Applicator rag has no, you can also see where I've been using it right there. So the applicator rag doesn't have tag on it. There we go, I'll start really light. And I still have wax or polish and wax built up right here. So again, just circular motions. It's pronounced circular. Ooh, I'm putting my fingers in there. Did you see that? Look where my finger is. Oh, but I was pushing in the middle. I didn't actually smoosh anything. There, that's actually a good spot to hold. You can only get so circular with that, because that's like recessed. It's like a river. So I'm kind of trying to go like back and forth in there, but I can't do full circular motions with that. Okay, I think I'm gonna have to get aggressive with the clear. So if you want to go ahead and show fill, you could show what the black looks like, but you'll see the clear still looks pretty bad. Okay, so I think what might have happened is most of the wax stayed on the black and didn't make it down into the clear part. So now I'm just applying it directly, and I'm gonna get in there kind of aggressively. And I'm actually going with the grain of the plastic now, just to see what'll happen. So I honestly believe I need a compound for that clear right there, because those scratches are just a little too deep. But the cool thing is, once that's on and it says Hero and it's backlit, believe it or not, the backlighting will remove a lot of the scratch from view, whereas the front lighting, like we're doing, we're bouncing light off of the scratch, is what's making it show. So we're actually making it look worse on camera than it is in person, but there's still a good amount of scratches. And part of the problem is this is what, The reason why these scratches even appear is because you open up your side panel and you're like, oh, my system's dusty. Or you take a brush like I use, or you take a rag and you start wiping. If you don't like somehow dampen that cloth a little bit to pick up the dirt instead of just sliding it around, or even using canned air or some sort of computer duster to get most of that dust vacuumed up out of the way first, that dust and that dirt just becomes like sandpaper. It just becomes abrasiveness material that you're moving all around. So it's the same as if you're, let's scale it up. Let's say you're washing your car and you drop your sponge on the driveway and you pick it up and start drying your car off, or your towel, or you're wiping off, or you're washing the car with pebbles in your rag or in your sponge or in your your mitt or whatever. That's what you're doing. You're just rubbing rocks all over the place, only that's a much larger scale. Okay, let's go and take a look at this one right here. This one's not as bad, the Tai Chi, but this Tai Chi's been through hell. There's a lot of fine surface scratches right here. I want to see how this one does. I want to make sure I don't get any like wax down inside that groove. And I'm gonna use the tape again, just to not get it on the metal parts right there, but this time I have to do it kind of a L shape because I want to make sure that I don't get it on the matte black material. So Marquez Brownlee would be very upset if the matte black turned into polished black. Now obviously this level of repair, I'm calling it a repair, requires that you kind of have it out of the system, ideally. But you could, I guess technically, if you got creative, you could do this in the system. All right, here we go.
And if you're very flexible.
Yeah. So that's the very first light pass compared to the original. Yeah, doesn't take much. So there's some pretty deep scratches in the Tai Chi. This was our test bench for a couple of years. There is absolutely no way to get all of those scratches out of there, but it's a heck of a lot better than it was, as you can see in the side-by-side. And more importantly, when you look at it straight on, like, you can't see any of those scratches. I mean, it's good. So, I mean, some of this stuff scratches immediately. That's the problem with like everyone using these shiny panels and screens and stuff now. I want to know what came off there that was so dirty. Anyway, but everyone having these screens and panels and stuff now, and these plastic like shiny bits everywhere. Now we're gonna go on to the Oris, because I was very upset that this Oris scratched so quickly and so easily. So we're gonna find out right now if I'm gonna regret this or not. I don't think it's gonna make it worse. I really don't think so. But we're gonna start very light. We'll put a couple of dots. The reason why I'm kind of doing this along the way is I don't want the rag to dry out along the way, otherwise the rag will just start scratching it. But the worst scratches are right here in the back and right along these kind of detailed lines that are already in here. But this is because this is where the adhesive sort of didn't come up. And I'm gonna use a fresh part of the rag. You can see the areas I've been using where it's a little dirty. So there's that area right there. And then I was using kind of a spot right there. I'm gonna use another corner now to be as clean as possible, so I'm not taking whatever dirt or contaminant from the motherboard and putting it on here and then having it just scratch more, and that's not what we want. It's like PPF guys should just make a PPF for this. I can see where
you really got into it on the screen.
I was like, yeah! I didn't know there was
diagonal one.
I didn't realize there was a screen until we turned it on. We're like, oh, there's a screen.
Like everyone's so spoiled with glass phone screens now that like.
Oh yeah, everyone forgets how like the Palm Pilot and the freaking Blackberries, you looked at them,
every iPod,
took them out of your pocket and they were all scratched up. Okay, that's a lot better already. There's still some right here I need to work on. Right here too, but it's improving. The thing is, this wax is also providing a layer of protection. That's the important part to remember. It's not like, oh, okay, this is gonna get super dirty again. It is gonna get super dirty again, but the wax will provide some layer between the plastic and the rag and stuff. So as long as you kind of do this a couple of times, you'll get a nice built up layer of wax on here that will just now literally do what it does for a car. It's just doing it for your GPU and your motherboard and other plastics now. I never thought I would be sitting here doing a tutorial about how to wax my GPU because of the, why are you not, oh. Okay, I want to point out right now, I am putting zero pressure in this. Like, there we go. Like just to where it touches. Because this rag can absolutely put scratches back in it. I'm actually pretty happy with how this is turning out. Damn, this is where I wish I had compound. I don't know, we can see what happens. Hey, Nick. We need compound. But this part right here, under the U and the S, is bothering me because there's scratches that go along with the lines that are like in there, so I can see it a little more obvious. But dude, when it's in your system like turned on, you'll never notice that. But I do think we need to compound it a little bit, which will be a good test over here first to see how it does on this one. Remember, this is the clear piece right here that the wax was not helping. I'm gonna have to cut that and see what happens. Okay, so this is the turtle wax. It's the turtle wax heavy duty rubbing compound. Didn't realize it was a heavy duty one. Whatever. And it also just looks like I had way too much salmon for dinner. That's okay. Just a little bit, and we're gonna practice it on the little clear part here. Remember the one that I said probably needs compound to be able to be not so scratchy? Nope. It just made it worse. Didn't actually help.
So the compound's too.
This is too abrasive of a compound. All right, so I think we're gonna get about as far as we're gonna get with the GPU. I'll probably do one more wax just to see if I can't fill in that scratch a little more. But let's see what happens here if I just go kind of ham on the wax on here.
Because that's the thing about the compound is that
it's meant for cutting like hard like paints, because modern clear coats and stuff, paints are all polyurethane based. So they're much harder and you can cut that. And when you cut a layer off, you can polish a new layer underneath it. This is not layers of plastic so much as it's just one big thick piece of plastic. I could definitely polish this if I didn't have these raised edges on either side, because I can't get from side to side very easily. So that's part of the problem, is the fact that that is recessed. But yeah, the compound is the wrong move for this plastic. So I'm just gonna do one more coat of the wax and call it a day with the GPU, because it is already way better than it was. So if you compare that to the before and after, I will definitely take that. It is not perfect, but again, now we have a layer of wax on here that's at least gonna protect us. And if you look at it like straight on, like in the light and stuff, you can see it's fine. Like the scratches are gone. So all in, like if you don't have a bottle of this already, Nick, how much was this bottle of the butt wax? The wax was 20 bucks. Did they sell like a sample? I mean, I do love using this wax for other reasons other than this. So, okay, I guess it could cost you 20, 30 bucks to do this. If you have a friend that has some of this stuff, then all you need is like a teaspoon of it, to be honest. So now we have more on hand. I've been wanting to keep this on hand because there's lots of stuff I've been wanting to like some of the piano black bezels on the monitors and stuff, because you wipe them down and that all happens. This will work on all of those types of plastics and stuff. But also too, let's give you another example. Let's say you have a car that has like piano black dash or piano black like trim around the windows and stuff that's all scratched from your car washes and stuff. What I just showed you will work on that as well. So it's got more uses than just this, but obviously the butter wax deep wet shine for your car is not intended to be used on your GPU, but we did and it helped. All right guys, thanks for watching. Hope you learned something today and we'll see you in the next one.
And now we know that's way too harsh.
Yes, but I can find a use for it somewhere.